All right, the real raw story was.
Here we go.
Like I said, I was at JP Morgan, and I was already super frustrated because I was used to taking vacation every 2 to 3 months, and I was already used to a certain lifestyle, and I was working hella hard to make less money. And I remember going to different businesses and seeing these guys from these different countries and these different cultures who hardly speak English, making way more money than me. I got pissed. So one morning, I'll never forget this. I just said I'm not going into work. So forget it. And I didn't do the 2-day thing, but I wasn't happy more than going in that direction. But I said I am gonna go to these random places like the swap shops, flea markets. I went to, I think, 20th Street, I think it's called 20th Street, in Miami. I said, I'm going to see what the hell these people are doing who can't speak English, but they have hundreds of thousands of dollars in their bank accounts. And so that's what I did. I went down there, and I went to these random places that day, and I learned, and while I thought I was, actually, I had just came from Panama, and I was saying, you know what, I'm going to find some blackberries. I'm going to export them back and forth to Costa Rica, because I knew they liked it. And when I was in one store, this guy was selling a service called Simple Mobile. Anyone ever heard of Simple Mobile?
Yeah.
Okay, Simple Mobile, yeah, for the folks who don't know too, it's all Simple Mobile is a reseller of T-Mobile towers. For, at the time, no one was doing no contract. So they were doing a no contract, everything unlimited for like $60. And on an iPhone. And I had Verizon Wireless and I was paying $150. And I said to myself, nah. Are you serious? I was like, this is real? He's like, yeah, man, look it up, you know. And he was selling Simple Mobile out of a jewelry store, like in a little cut, you know. This guy from Israel. And I said, hey, bro, how do you get into this? He didn't want to tell me. So I just thought it was so novel, right? So basic, but made so much sense. So by the end of the day, I reached out, I went on Simple Mobile's website, I emailed one of the guys, I expected an email back. Turns out the managing director for Simple Mobile was actually in Miami. Met with him the next week. I said, what do I have to do to start selling Simple Mobile? He goes, you know, here's some SIM cards. I was like, really? I don't need to start. Like, yeah, man, make it happen. He gave me the SIM cards and he taught me the portal thing. Didn't cost me any money, by the way, to start up. Didn't cost me any money at all. And I was literally selling SIM cards. I would do a little investment deal. I'm talking to this guy about his Roth IRAs, you know, all this crap. And I'm telling him, hey, if you want to save money, you know, how much you paying for Verizon or whomever? You know, you could have put $2,000 towards your IRA you're paying on a phone bill. I'm gonna give you some Simple Mobile right now. And I'd sell the crap out of the parking lot, literally. And when I seen, you know, folks with money, average folks buying it from me, I said, man, if I get a storefront, I can make something of this thing. And it goes to the part of believing and putting things out there. I told my mother, I said, Mom, I want to open a store, you know. And she goes, yo, your uncle just opened this store, he's just shipping stuff to Haiti, and I'll connect you with him. This guy rents me a spot out of his retail location for $300 a month, you know, and boom, my business started. Shoestring budget, my first store cost me maximum about $5,000, you know, and that was like over a 2 and 3 month period, you know, piecing things together. And turned into, eventually, that just did really well. Really, really well. And then when AT&T got whiff of the noise I was making, they offered me a deal with Cricket Wireless, and I was leveraging that money into Cricket, leveraged Cricket, and now into, you know, this many stores.
Yeah, I started Feverish for like less than $2,000, and I lost my job, and that's what forced me to like just go with this idea I've been sitting on for like over 2 years. And I don't have any culinary experience. I think, you know, I worked at McDonald's when I was 16. That's the extent of it. My husband worked at Subway when he was, you know, 16, 17. That was the extent of his food experience as well. So he cooks I love desserts, absolutely. I got married at a donut shop, you know, you gotta love desserts.
Yeah?
But yeah, in Portland, Oregon, Voodoo Donuts, we were one of them crazy people. And so I absolutely loved it, but my background was in marketing and PR, that's what I knew. So what I did was I took what I knew and what I was an expert in and put it into this really old industry, right? And just pimped it, like I said, we pimped it out.
Pimped it. I swear to God.
I just made it really cool, made it like a, you know, in my mind, I was like, I want to build a lifestyle brand. I'm not trying to build an ice cream company. I want to build a lifestyle brand. So people, it's like an extension of who you are, and it's fun and hip and like all those things. That, in my mind, that's what I was trying to build. And then I was like, I want to find all these really big companies to pay me to give it away for free, because you know, I don't want to be out there all day long. So, and so that's what the original plan was. I kid you not, that's what the plan was, and it's evolved over time. You know, if I look back 6 years ago, I would laugh and say, I can't believe where we are today and what we've been able to accomplish. But like exactly like Dawrance said, it was piecemeal, right? So I could afford to buy a cart, and then, you know, when we made some money, I bought some other stuff, and we grew it from there. And you flip things, and you add things, you take things away. So, but we both have really big goals, you know, but you have to break it down to the smallest step that allows you to start today. You know, and use the resources, use the people that are around you. So,
Did you have a business plan?
oh, we didn't talk about that. Hell no.
Hell no. What a waste.
You need to know what you're gonna do. You know, you may not have it all figured out, but you need to have at least an idea, right? And the thing I hate the most is for people to sit and try and write a business plan before they've even made their first buck or sold their first product. Because other than that, you're writing a bunch of hypothetical BS.
Yeah,
It's complete BS if you never actually try to make your first dollar. You don't know how long it'll take you to make your first dollar. That idea may be absolutely horrible, but you spent 6 months to a year putting this document together, this perfect team, and projecting what your profits are going to be for the next 3 to 5 years, and you never even sold $3. Right. Like, that's a problem, you know, and so that's a problem.
And it prohibits a lot of people from even beginning.
Right. You educate yourself out your dream. You do all this research and say, you know what, this is way too hard. You know, if I would have known what I know now about the ice cream business, I probably would have never started. Because it hasn't been easy all the time, but it's been the most rewarding thing I've ever done. And it's the most successful company I've ever had. But if you know, if I would have done all the research, and I probably would have started, you know. So
forget that.
You do enough to get you started, but it's about building traction. And I'm going to tell you how crazy it is and how much our community is missing out on it. I know we're running out of time, but you have people in Silicon Valley that all they're doing is building traction, right? They don't care I mean, selling would be great, but they have investors that are giving them money out the ass because they've been able to come up with an idea and they get thousands of people using the product, even though they're in beta testing and they're giving it away for free. And because they have all these users and they're starting to like entrench on Facebook's territory like Instagram did. Instagram had 4 employees. They'd been around for 2 years. They had 25 million users and they had $0 in revenue when Facebook bought them for $1 billion. You know who indexes the highest on Instagram? Who? We do.
We are.
You'll never see Instagram build a school, a playground, donate anything to our neighborhoods. But we help them sell for $1 billion. That's insane, right? Twitter as well. I mean, Rap Genius, right?
Rap Genius.
I was in New York last year, the Focus 100, right? And I was on a panel about why black people didn't invent Rap Genius. Does anyone know what Rap Genius is? All right, so Rap Genius is a very simple website that annotates rap lyrics. And then there's this whole blogging part where people like come in and they say, this is what Tupac really meant when he said, you know, the flower came from the concrete and all that stuff. But you can type in, I think, like any keyword and it'll pull up like these different rap songs or whatever. Two white guys and an Asian guy started Rap Genius, right? Rap Genius last year got like $15 million from Andreessen Horowitz, right? So now you have this old guy traveling all around the world talking about how much he loves rap music because they invested $15 million into this company. And he sits on panels with Dame Dash and Jay-Z and all this stuff, right? And I was on this panel and they were talking about why, you know, people were like upset when they heard that they got all this money and black people didn't invent Rap Genius. And we were in the room, we were on the panel, and the guy who used to be the CTO of BET, we were on the panel together. He was like, y'all in this room, all of y'all upset? Now, raise your hand if any one of you guys knew how to build Rap Genius.
Right.
And nobody could raise their hand. And so he's like, what the hell are you mad for? you couldn't build it, right? We dictate culture, but we don't see what's going on, right? I was reading an article the other day that people were upset that some girl in Australia is making all this money teaching twerking classes, right? So we dictate the culture, but then nothing clicks in our mind saying that we can monetize that, right? Something that, what was the other dance the other day that people went crazy about? Huh? I don't know if I've seen anything with the native, but
with the Haitian dude, right? Huh? The Haitian dude?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they bring the legs together like a little duck.
Yeah, so I mean, the opportunities are endless, right? And it doesn't have to be like this big, grandiose, like, you know, solving world hunger with this water bottle and all this stuff. Like, he sells cell phones, I sell popsicles.
That's it.
Popsicles, right? Popsicles are like Lily Dilly. We grew up on Lily Dilly. Like, they're not that big of a deal. I watched a documentary the other day of 50 Cent talking about how he's selling water now. And he went into some grocery store or something like that, and he saw all these water brands on the shelf, and he was like, okay, water is free. And they're selling it for like, you know, you get it cold, which is still almost free. They're selling for $2 a bottle. So they packaged up something that you could literally get for free out of the water fountain, because it ain't really from Zipper Hill Springs. Right? Serious? It's not really thrown, you know, poured over a diamond and all this
It
crap.
splashes gently.
All this great marketing for I mean, Zipper Hills tastes like crap.
But what does it really come down to, though, right?
It comes down to having an idea and executing, right? And looking for the potential in every single thing. So I think if you guys leave this room, what I would love for all of you to walk out of this room is saying, you know, what problems can I solve? What can I build? And how can I make money? Because that's why we go to school, right? People do all this fluff or whatever. You go to school so you can make money, right? So when you talk about being an entrepreneur and being afraid of losing money, if you went to school for 12 plus years and you don't know how to make your money back after you lose your money, what the hell did you go to school for, right? And so I've lost money, but I know how to get it back, right? I know how to get it back and plus some. I know what skills I have, and I know how to monetize those skills. Like, absolutely, there's no reason that everyone in this room shouldn't be wealthy beyond their wildest dreams, because we got the skills.
Yeah, we do.
We got the skills. Like, skill sharing right now is huge. You go to Udemy, you go to Coursera, lynda.com. Arnisha was a guest on one of my classes. I teach a class online that I filmed all the content in my store, I put videos online, and students pay anywhere from $1,700 to $5,000 to learn how to start an ice pop business.
Yep.
I work on that. Please sign up, please. I don't even market that. It's on my website. People find me. It's a business I started that most people don't even know about. And I work on that 1 hour a week. 1 hour a week. And that's me getting on and, getting on anymeeting.com, bringing all the students there, all into a group, so I teach everyone all at one time, and I talk to them about getting into the popsicle business. Everything else is through forums and videos that they watch. Every one of y'all can do that.
Absolutely.
And I think,
Yeah, everyone.
I mean, the last thing I just want to leave with y'all, real simple. One of the main reasons I know I'll never be poor, ever, it comes down to something real simple, and that is always be in a place just to create value and sell that value. Or take value that's already there and sell it. That's really all you got to do. You take value. For instance, Pops, I always marvel at Felecia. She knows I do. Because I know what the hell ice cream is and a popsicle. I would never buy a popsicle for $3 until I heard it had alcohol in it and all kind of nice fruits. But what she did was she took something so simple, which was popsicles, and she was able to create value in that popsicle to the point where that value, because remember, value is perception. You got people who pay tons of. Mona Lisa's priceless. To me, to me it's stupid and ugly, but it's a priceless painting to a lot of people because of value. So if you can always create value or take value that's already there and just sell it, you won't ever be poor.
I remember 50% non-refundable deposit before you even do work.
Have you been to school?
That's how you gotta do. Contract too.
It's ugly.
And I think the thing is, it's really not that difficult, guys. I've been an entrepreneur for 6 years as well. I started my business the same year as Felecia. And, for years, I'm trying to lowball and, just trying to get the job. And, when I met Felecia, she's like, listen, these people are trying to skim you for $4 a person for a full meal, and I'm charging $4 for a popsicle. And I'm catering just like you're catering. And so, it's really not that difficult to, not only get in business, but make money and get people to pay you what you're worth. And then also to grow your own personal brand after that, which is another thing that Felecia taught me. I had been writing a book for multiple years, and I never got it off. And, one night I'm in a conversation with her and Derek, and they're like, why don't you have a book? And I'm like, well, I've been writing it. Well, what is your excuse? You have to build your personal brand, because right now you're an expert in your field. You're an expert in your area, and you can be doing speaking. You can be, teaching others what you know. I'm a good person. I share my knowledge, that I have with whoever asks. And I was doing it for free, and now I'm charging. But, they saw that in me and also encouraged me and pushed me to, get my book out. So my book will be out before this year's out. And, to my surprise, when I got on to Felicia's class as her guest speaker, I'm thinking, everyone knows this stuff. What I know, everyone has to know. Like, it's easy. It's common knowledge. And it seems like every 10 words I got out, they're emailing Felecia, what's that? What is the chamber? What is this? You'd be surprised at the things that people don't know. You'd be surprised the knowledge that you have through the experiences that you've experienced that other people haven't, they haven't went through what you went through, and they don't know what you know. And other people will pay to know what you know. Right. So I really, really, really want to give a round of applause to the panel. Are there any more questions or comments before we dismiss? And also, one more.
This is to Felecia, Dawrance. I don't know if you have kids or family. I'm a new mom. We did the fist bump with Ori earlier. How do you balance being a new mom? Ori, I think just turned 1 or is turning 1 soon. With business, how do you stay focused, stay on the grind when Ori like, oh, it's Ori's feeding time. All right, let me get back to delegating these stuff. Oh my God, Ori just spilled something, and then keeping that momentum going. I have a very hard time with balancing 6-month-olds, staying focused and only only having 24 hours. And I'm like, really? So I only wrote like 200 words of this book that's
Right.
And it's hard. It's very, very hard. And then by the end of the week, you're kind of like, so the entire week, I just spent, you know, mostly on mom duty.
Yeah.
And I know that I need to put out a book, I need to do recording, I need to go out and network, I need to do all these things, but the momentum keeps breaking because of the thing. So how do you manage?
It's definitely been an adjustment over the year. Sometimes I do a really good job, sometimes I don't. You know, so I've had to apologize a lot, I've missed meetings, so many different things. And I just had to make a rule personally for myself to keep my sanity that nothing comes before my daughter. Because everything else can be rescheduled, right? So that, it took me a while to get to that point, but then once I realized that, my life got much more simpler. And then the other thing that we both talked about is outsourcing as much as possible. You know, so those little things that take up a lot of time that I really don't have to do, that someone can do for me, that's what I do. Because it's what the opportunity costs, right? So the time that you take to, I'll never forget it. I lost like a $2,500 deal at one point because I couldn't get the proposal to them in time, right? And so if you spend $10 or $15 for someone for an hour, and I'm just throwing numbers out there, right? Because you can get somebody for like $2, $3, or $4 online. Spend $4 for this 1 hour for this person to do this proposal for you. I wouldn't have lost like $2,500, right? And it took losing that for it to click to be like, what the heck are you doing? You know? And so now you have to be proactive about it. So start looking for people and ways to delegate those kind of things and put those systems in place so that you have more time. That's why, again, Fancy Hands is great, right? Elance, you're paying somebody by the hour or per project. But Fancy Hands, I can say, hey, I need you to send this email to someone with this attachment, and they do it. I need you to make this phone call for me and set this up, and they do it. So those are real tools that you can use, and Fancy Hands is really reasonably priced. And then, you know, send the link out and get your friends to sign up, and then you get a bunch of free tasks as well. So I didn't use affiliate links to my, like I should have over the past few years, and I kicked myself for it. So I get free Uber rides now when I go out of town because I'm like, yo, you gonna take Uber, you going out of town, you need to try Uber, man. And they use my link and I get it. So now I'm doing all those different things, but please check out Fancy Hands. Please use my link and check out Fancy Hands.
But no, with the hashtag and I will.
FancyHands.com.
I just got a quick question about that. Is it anything like Fiverr? Because I went on Fiverr. It's like 1 million people, and I was actually looking for a logo design. I'm like, oh my God, which one do I use? Because it's like 1 million of them, so you don't know.
I only use people on Fiverr that have really good reviews.
So is Fancy Hands like that too? Like it's a whole bunch of people?
Fancy Hands is a virtual assistant service.
Oh,
So the good thing about Fancy Hands is, so Elance, I have like 2 virtual assistants that I use on Elance for stuff, right? If I send them 5 projects, they can only work on 1 at a time, right? I like Fancy Hands because you do that 1 project and anybody in the group can pick that up to work on. So say I put 10 tasks together, all 10 things are being worked on by 10 different people at the same time, and I get things done right away.
But do you get the proofreader or anything? Or just, do you, like you said something about sending out emails and that kind of thing, like do you get the proofreader or anything? Or they
Yeah, you can have them CC you on every single email that they send out. They're really, the quality that I've gotten, I've been using them for about a month now, has been amazing. And you put checks and balances in place so that, you know, you can, until you get to a certain comfort level, absolutely, but just try it out. I think they have a free trial. Try it and just try to. You're not going to find a graphic designer on Fancy Hands. This is strictly like tasks and things that you need. But there's so much out there. Like Dawrance can attest to it. He uses it. Like it's lifesaver, man. Absolutely. It just, you keep your sanity so that you can work on a bunch of stuff.
Things that make sense for you to be focused on.
Yeah.
And I personally just give myself a limit of what certain things I work on. If a project is going to take me 3 and 4 hours and it doesn't work on me leading or guiding something or visioning, I'm not doing it.
You can outsource grocery shopping. That's like my next step. I'm so serious.
Man, you gotta let them go.
That new Amazon service that
Huh?
you tell me?
Yeah, Amazon has a service now where
Oh,
they'll drop
yeah.
ship stuff to you.
I'm
So
going-
the things that you need every single month, like toothpaste and toilet paper and baby stuff or whatever, they'll ship it right to your door. And that's 10 minutes or 15 minutes that you can spend prospecting for new clients, right?
Exactly.
And so you have to weigh that cost. Like, do I pay somebody $4 for this hour that's going to free me up so that I can bring in 20 grand? Or do I do this work and piss this client off because I didn't answer their phone in time or
Right.
return it? So you have to be smart. Like, being an entrepreneur is not about having master skills. It's just being very smart, very creative. And that's how you duplicate your stuff and you get stuff done.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I decided this afternoon to go to Jamaica at 4 o'clock
I saw that.
tomorrow, and someone at Elance is planning my trip.
Wow.
Yeah. All my activities.
Try it, guys. I promise you, you won't be upset. Try it.
Yeah.
Freelance, yeah.
Yes, Felecia is full of resources. And aside, I know, right? And also, if you guys, she has Popsicle University. If you all want to, if you don't know what business to start and you're interested in opening up a popsicle business, you can go to Felecia. If anyone who's interested in opening up any type of food service business, catering, or any sort of food service business, I have resources for that as well. Actually, I'm doing an incubator at my business for that. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for staying. Thank you for the panel. Thanks to Cold Fever for our live Twitter feed. And if you guys have a